Hi guys, Kelly of Eevee Cosplay here, and welcome to my channel. I've got a tutorial today for you guys. I'm going to show you how I use two different trims from the Yaya Han collection available at Joann Fabrics on this adorable Eevee costume designed by Sunset Dragon. I used two different trims for this process. One was an iron on trim, and then the other was a faux leather trim that was sewn on using a sewing machine. So let's get into it. First, you're going to need whatever you plan on attaching your trim to. We're going to be putting it on the gold edges of this top. This is the trim. It's one of the iron-on ones from Yaya Han. I've gone ahead and already cut out all the pieces that I will need for both the front two edges and the bottom going all the way around the garment. I've also gone ahead and cut out a test swatch. First, I'm going to go ahead and test this with the trim on the front of the garment, or, well, the front of the test fabric. I'm using my iron with some steam and pressing the trim. Afterwards, I've decided to check to see how well it adheres, and it's still coming up in a couple places, so I go ahead and adjust the heat on my iron and give it another press. Obviously, you want to be careful that you don't damage your fabric when you're doing this. Another check, and everything seems pretty good. After lifting it though, I noticed that one side was still a little loose, so we're going to give it one more press just to make sure that it does adhere. All's good. I'm also going to try from the other side, with the fabric laying on top of the trim. I gave it a nice press with some circular motions, and it actually worked really well this way. Test successful. Now you're going to need some pins. I'm going to attach the trim where we want it on the garment. Now it's back to the iron. I've decided to press from the front because I wanted to see what I was doing. It may have been more successful if I pressed it from the back, and you'll see what happens in a few minutes. And here is everything completed. After sewing everything together, I noticed that some of the edges had popped loose, and so I'm using some Fabri-Tac to glue it all down. This might not have happened if I had pressed it the other way, but at this point I will never know. So I'd recommend pressing from the back if you can, but here's some Fabri-Tac, works great if you need to fix it. Kitty! Now we're going to go ahead and attach the leather to these two strips of linen. This will be going around the edging in a similar fashion to bias tape. Here is the leather trim. It has a cut in the back, so it makes it very easy to be able to fold it in half. We're going to need some wonder clips for this. Wonder clips are awesome. You don't want to use pins when you're working items like faux leather because then you'll poke holes in the actual trim. Wonder clips won't do that. They also hold things in place very well, and this leather is a little on the thick side, and it would be much more difficult to pin it into place than to clip it. After I've cut all the pieces that I'll need, I go ahead and clip it all to the edges of the linen. Because the faux leather trim is on the thicker side, I'm not mitering the corners. Instead, I'm overlaying the trim on top. Because the trim does not fray, you don't have to worry about having issues at the ends. One done. Now it's off to the sewing machine. You're going to need some leather needles and a Teflon foot. This is the gold thread that I'm using. It's from Silky. A Teflon foot is important for this. It's a foot that makes sure that the faux leather isn't going to catch underneath in your sewing machine. With a regular foot, that is a total possibility with some things like faux leather and PVCs. Teflon foots are very, very useful and a great asset to have when you're sewing these types of things. Of course, I'm trimming and clipping all of the threads as I go. And there you have it, all finished. Your trim has been attached to your fabric. Alright guys, that's everything for today. I hope that my little tutorial here helped you and informed you of my experiences with these trims. They are great, even though I did have a couple hiccups with the one. I do still recommend them. They can add something extra to your costume and really make it pop. I hope my tutorial helped you. If you have any projects coming up and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you click that subscribe button over there. I've got one coming a month, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!